track at the World, we are tied. Look at this. He's slammed it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Dropping a big leg. Over for the cover. He got it. Unbelievable.
High fly ball into right field. She is gone. Austin, he got it. The starter. Mike Tyson in. Austin is the champion. Stone Cold. Stone Cold. Stone Cold. Now the 2-2. Well hit down the left field line. Way back in.
Touch a ball, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Oh my God, no! Mankind did it! Nick Foley did it! No! Stone Cold did it! Mankind has achieved his dream and the dream of everyone else who's been told you can't do it! No! You can't do it! You can't do it! No matter what, got money on my mind, I can never get it up. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
What's up, Connection? Welcome to the WAR Wrestling Above Replacement. I'm JT. Joining me is my good buddy Marcus, the man that's never bored. He's always exciting when he's with me on these shows. And of course, we are simulcast on audio on the North South Connection, all podcast applications, except for those coward losers at Spotify, and on video at YouTube under North South Connection, where we recently surpassed 1,000 subscribers. I want to thank you for that. Of course, every live WWE PLE, we have post show, we got previews. We have old school wrestling, new school wrestling. We're covering 1995 and tribute, No So 95, pop culture wrestling and beyond there. A lot of cool content for you cool cats. Subscribe to and share and love and like and comment and spread the word of our greatness. And we appreciate each and every one of you. On this here podcast, Marcus and I are going through every pay-per-view in WWE history in a seasonal format. That means we started with Extreme Rules 2013 this year and wrap at WrestleMania 30 in 2 weeks. And then we'll go on to another season. We'll randomize and move on. So that's how we do it. We don't do calendar year. We do seasonal year. And we rank each show based on a various amount of metrics that we'll cover in a moment in our rules. But I want to pause for 1 second, turn it over to Marcus, and ask how you're doing, buddy.
Hey, I'm doing well. We are covering the 2014 Elimination Chamber today. Did you like the Elimination Chamber more when it was like a shoot circus for injury, or do you like the one that's a little bit more padded and more clearly protected? Like, do you feel less guilty watching the current day ones?
As someone right now who has been mired in Mike Awesome and Masato Tanaka murder each other with chair shots, I'll take either chamber, and I think it's just not as bad as that. I'm all for wrestler safety, so the modern one's probably better, but the old school one definitely has a charm to it. All the way back to RVD collapsing Triple H's throat, and what could have been in the world of wrestling. That's a big what if. That would be a what if for me and Aaron to get into. What if RVD completely collapses Triple H's trachea and he's done wrestling in 2002? I'm not even Triple H hater, but it's an interesting what if for sure. All right. Also with us here, as always, is our producer, not the tool man, Tim Taylor, and he does great work with our graphics and sets us all up for success. And we're going to turn it over to him to read us the rules for this show.
Welcome to WWE WAR. I'm producer Tim. JT and Marcus have taken on the noble task of finding the true answer to the age-old question wrestling fans have debated for years. What is the greatest WWE pay-per-view of all time? To find the answer, WAR looks to explore each and every pay-per-view using a plus-minus scale at a baseline average, where things above average gain a point and things below average lose a point. WWE WAR grades on several categories, including match quality, build, commentary, atmosphere, notable moments, card structure, and rewatchability. The magic number to remember for WWE WAR is 2.5. That is the baseline number for an average replacement level match. Any grade higher or lower than 2.5 raises or lowers the average WAR score. For example, if JT and Marcus give a match a 3-star rating, then that match is 0.5 points above replacement. Add all of the totals up and you get your nice round number to give you your match quality grade. There's also a bonus. If there is a match that both JT and Marcus rate 4.25 or higher, or 0.75 or lower, that match gains or loses a point for either an all-time great match or an all-time bad match. By the time we're done, we will have composed the most comprehensive list ever for WWE pay-per-views to give you the answer of what is the greatest WWE pay-per-view of all time. Take it away, boys.
All-time theme song. Theme from Drax. Great stuff. All right, tonight we're covering Elimination Chamber 2014. February 23rd, 2014, from the Minneapolis, Minnesota Target Center. Attendance 14,101. Ben Rice just missed a homer, buddy. I'm sorry. This is WWE's fourth pay-per-view to emanate from the Target Center. The first three: SummerSlam 1999, Judgment Day 2005, and Bragging Rights 2010. 2 out of 3, pretty good. Yeah, he just missed. A long night ahead. So there's your rundown for the Chamber. Let's go ahead and look at our pre-show match. Now suddenly mired in the pre-show, sadly. Cody Rhodes and Goldust taking on Curtis Axel, and Ryback. And these guys were the kings of the fall. Seems like they were going to rule the tag division, and Cody would ascend from there. And instead, they lose the belts to the New Age Outlaws on the pre-show. And they win here over Ryback in 10 minutes. Fine, but what are we doing?
Yeah. And Ryback probably should have picked up the win because they got the Axe out there with them.
Mm-hmm.
In their hometown. So, yeah, weird call there. Weird call.
All right, let's get to our opening match, which is for the Intercontinental title. It is Big E defending against Jack Swagger and retaining in 11:50. And this is a perfectly acceptable match. I've been a fan of Swagger since he's recalibrated and joined Cesaro, the Real Americans. I thought they've been a good team, and he's re-elevated. I like him with Zeb. So he's been a pretty good upper mid-card dude. Big E's kind of up and down right now as IC champ. He's had some tough spots he's been put in. The Rumble stuck in at number 29 in that tough spot. He had that couple of tough matches toward the end of the year on pay-per-view, but they're letting him run with the belt. They're giving him some time, which is cool. And he gets a good hard-fought win here. So nice little 3-star IC title tilt.
Yeah, I went 3 as well. And, kind of so far following Big E this season, we know he's going to end up being a great tag team worker. He's a good singles match guy at like this Intercontinental title level, but here you see the glimpses of what he was truly meant to do, and that's slapping meat. 2 big dudes. Within the WWE world, they're not, presented as like super heavyweights or anything like that, but these are 2 big dudes, and they bring the contact, and they have a pretty decent match here. So I went 3 as well. It takes us to our next match, as we have the Usos taking on the New Age Outlaws for the tag
weird
team
match.
Yeah. Outlaws retain. Billy Gunn hits a roll up on it. Jimmy Uso, and I went 2.75.
The match is fine. I mean, the Outlaws are okay. It just feels like they're beating teams they probably shouldn't be beating at this point, like the Rose Brothers, the Usos. I know the Usos aren't super protected yet, but it's like, I don't know. It just feels like, and
the tag matches started getting too good. Like we saw the Rhodes versus the Shield and the Triple Threat.
The Shield.
The tag division's really cooking.
Hell no. We had some good teams.
And it's like, this is kind of to reset the bar for tag team wrestling in WWE.
Even Big E and Dolph were pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not even like we're getting interference. Like if the Outlaws are winning because the Authority was helping them or something, like that'd be fine. Like King comes out or something. But instead, it's like, no, they're just
beating people.
Yeah. I mean, we shouldn't be having this.
No.
All right. Next match. We have Darren Young versus Titus O'Neil, the explosion of the primetime players. We've been told by producer Tim that I believe it was a 3 that Titus O'Neil cannot be under. If you add these two together, he's over 3. So there you go, Tim. 2 stars for me. This is just, I tried.
1.75 for me. It didn't expose the business, but this not too good.
Match. So. Put this on the pre-show. Put the Rhodeses on pay-per-view.
Yeah. Hey, Titus O'Neil, great hot tag. They should not have broken these guys up. They should have found a new edge and kept teaming, in my opinion. But takes us to match number 4 already, as we have a big one here. We have first time ever matchup, 6-man tag, the Wyatt family taking on the Shield.
Mm-hmm.
This one is incredible action, back and forth. It's such almost just like a culture shock. Even though we are in 2014 WWE, and you see some of the athleticism and stuff like that pick up, but what these guys can do, it's just so different from what we've seen so far. So I went 4.5. If you haven't seen this match in a while, go back and check it out. Atmosphere is incredible. It's just thing after thing after thing happening. Everything makes sense. And you get the Wyatts up here, the Wyatt family, just by playing the numbers game and getting to pick off the Shield one by one, which was the Shield's game. So kind of cool to see the Wyatt family be able to turn the tables there on the Shield. And 4.5 for me.
Great match for me. 4.25. It's a classic. It's really good. It gives Bray a big win heading into his match with Cena at Mania. And the Shield, like a lot of chinks in the armor for these guys over the last few months. Like they were unstoppable for a while, and now you start to see losses hit, a little bit of dissension in the way, and that it's not as strong as they had been when they first debuted. Like teams have found a way in to beat them. And for them to get the loss here on pay-per-view was a pretty big win for the Wyatts. They do have a couple more matches. I think there's one on Raw, and then there's one on Main Event of all shows in early April.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they're all really good. So just a great mix of talent for these 6 guys. But yeah, this is a classic, worth watching if you haven't seen it in a while. All right, next up we have Cameron challenging AJ Lee for the Divas title. About what you would expect, 1.25. Not much cooking here. It's actually Cameron wins by DQ, which is weak. It's not like they were going to continue to feud. It was kind of thrown together last minute anyway. I don't know why AJ didn't just go over. I know they're trying to get over Tamina as kind of her backup or Diesel, but like it's fucking Cameron. Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know. Just felt very much like a miss here.
Same for me, 1.25. Keep moving. We're on to match number 6, as we have our returning hero, Dave Batista, taking on Alberto Del Rio. I went with a 3 for this match. Actually pretty decent, all things considered. We know this isn't Batista's finest era, but I thought as a standalone match, it was pretty solid. It was a pretty solid match.
Yeah, the crowd turns on Batista again here. Like the lingering vibes from the Rumble really put him in a bad spot, set him off on the wrong foot, and everyone kind of followed suit. We had a lot of Batista chants going on here. Del Rio kind of does the classic Jerry the Stupid King Lawler from SummerSlam 93, where he fakes the injury and then they wrestle anyway. But it's fine. I went 2.25. And to me, it just never really gets into gear. I like the finish with him going for the cross arm breaker and Batista kick him into the buckle. So that's fine. But like, this is meant to rehab Batista and get him ready for his world title match with Randy Orton, which is still the plan right now going into Mania. And it didn't feel super dominant. I think Del Rio's the right guy for him to go over, given how Del Rio's been presented this season. So like, that's fine. But to me, like, this didn't ease my concerns of Batista main eventing WrestleMania 101 with Randy Orton to win the world title. Like, you see this match. I wonder how much this, in addition to the fan rebellion, played a role in their decision. Like, were they looking at this suddenly and being like, Like, I don't know. Like Batista Orton's going to get skewered by the fans on top of Batista just not being there yet. And like it has potential to be very WrestleMania, 21-ish with Batista and Hunter or other stuff like that,
Yeah, and not to spoil things a little bit later, but we'll get the closing shot of the night, and the closing shot of the night does not involve Batista. So you wonder going into the show, did they already have plans or have an idea that they knew they had to get Bryan involved into this match somehow, because Batista does this, and they do mention it a couple other times that he's going to face the winner of the Chamber or whatever, but like that's kind of it. You would think that there might be a stare down or Batista might lay somebody out to end the show, but there's none of that. So yeah, a tumultuous time for sure. That takes us into match number 7 of the evening, which is our main event. It is the Elimination Chamber for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Randy Orton successfully defends and retains versus Cesaro, Christian, one more match, returning Sheamus, Daniel Bryan, and John Cena. Of course, Sheamus came back at the Rumble, but he's still pretty new or fresh jumping back into this season. I went a 4.25. I could not remember this chamber, like this match, like nothing stuck out to me about it. And then once Claudio was in, I was like, oh, this is where like Claudio goes crazy, and you can see like he can, if you knew Claudio, knew of his work, like, okay, that he can swim with the big boys. But this was kind of his coming out party in WWE that like, yeah, he belongs up here.
It's a great match. I mean, it's a banger. Like I didn't remember it either really that much. And then I was like, holy shit, this is really good. I went 4.5. And it's a season that has not had many all-time good matches. We were talking about it earlier. It's like this time you think there's at least like some good wrestling, but there really hasn't been anything that's popped for us. SummerSlam had 2. And now this show unexpectedly puts 2 up as well, which is rare. Not a lot of shows in general we get 2, and especially especially here in this season. So this is a great main event. I thought Cesaro definitely showed he belonged. It was a good rebuild for Sheamus. And of course they, stick Bryan at the end for Orton, right? I don't know if they were thinking it's one last, okay, Orton goes over Bryan one more time and this is it for them. It felt like it a little bit, like kind of like Rock Foley in 99. Like, okay, beat him in February. Now you're officially done with him before moving on to Mania. So it did feel like it had those vibes a little bit like, okay, this is meant to officially end Bryan's quest for the world title. I don't know when they turned their mind around. Maybe it was before this, but I'm not sure when that change actually happens to then move him into the main event at Mania. But here it feels like this is meant to be the end of their issue. And you have Sheamus in here with Bryan, and of course that was the planned Mania match, was Bryan Sheamus anyway. So who knows? But 4.5 for me. Again, if you haven't seen this show in a while, or I would at least check out the Shield match and this match. They're both great. Absolutely. All right, so that gives us a WAR score of 4.25. So a very strong in-ring show out of nowhere. Who knew? Elimination Chamber 14. Let's get to our bills. We have a point for the debut of Bad News Barrett. We didn't talk about that, but he is on the show all night long. He comes up on his little floating podium and gives bad news in between every match. It's a pretty memorable gimmick that's well renowned, and everyone always kind of talks about Bad News Barrett. And I do think I think it held up. He was pretty funny in the role, so a point for that. A point for Bryan still hanging on to the main event picture on the back of the fans. Point for the Usos beating the New Age Outlaws in singles matches. Point for the primetime player explosion. Point for the Wyatts costing the Shield their chamber slots. That triggers this family warfare. A point for Shield's issues, kind of bickering. It's seeping in between them. You can tell something's coming with them. A point for Batista assaulting Del Rio to help Dolph Ziggler. A point for the Authority forcing Orton to defend the title, right? They've been making him prove himself since they gave him the belt. And here's another one. They're like, okay, show us you're the guy. Retain the title in the chamber. And then a point for the return of Christian, wants one more shot at the title here.
One more match. Let's get into our cons. We get Bryan dragged into a feud with Kane. We get Naomi breaks her eye socket against Oksana, loses her title shot.
And that's why Cameron
picks that up. We get Poor Dolph Ziggler. The political hit continues. He has fallen so far down. He's now the damsel in distress for Dave Batista. And we get a forced Cena Wyatt, Orton Batista build heading out of the show.
Yeah, and Cena Wyatt at least had some seeds at the Rumble, but it felt like, again, not what fans really wanted out of all this. Ziggler, this reminded me a lot of like Zack Ryder. We talked about like in 11-12, where he goes from like red hot US champ to be in the Cuck and the Cena feud with, Eve and all that. Like this very much felt like Dolph, from that night after Mania Raw where he cashed in those world title matches, the great stuff with Del Rio, gets the concussion. Then he's in the IC belt. Then he's kind of still on pay-per-view.
He's in the mixed tag.
Yeah, he's still kind of floating around. Then he's kind of in the lower card. Then he's on the pre-show. And now Batista's rescuing him from Del Rio. Like, it just feels like what a slide. I don't remember the rest of his 2014 to have much of a stance. I know by Survivor Series, I think he's back up, right? Isn't he big in the Sting match?
He's big in the Sting match. I know 2014. I know because I'm thinking 2015. I'm like
16 is when they kind of build SmackDown around him a little bit.
Yeah. So he heats back up towards the end of 2014.
Yeah. All right. Well, that gives us a net score of 5 for build. So pretty good build. All right. Let's get to commentary. Our usual team here for the season: JBL, Cole, and King. A point for you're doing a good job. They're plugging and hyping NXT Arrival. So we'll talk about this more in a couple of weeks at WrestleMania. The network era is upon us. Like NXT Arrival was coming soon, I think in the next week or so, with the launch of the network, which I believe was the next day. And then, of course, Mania would be the first pay-per-view on the network as well. So a lot of big stuff happening, and they really do a good job of pumping up NXT that would begin airing on the network. JBL, funny, like JBL goes, I was once a Blackjack and King. Really? I don't know if he really didn't remember Blackjacks at all, but he really seemed surprised by it, even though he called all his matches in 97. Strong promotion of the network, all the tutorials, the classic footage. Like, if you're watching the show, I think they do a real good job of making you excited for it the next day. Like, they're showing you how it works. They get the sneak preview going, clicking through and everything. And it was a big deal. Like, I remember getting in first thing in the morning the next day. I remember Chris Golo took the day off of work and slept in. And remember they had that issue where people couldn't get in. So he took the day off and he couldn't get in until like that night or whatever. But it was really cool to log in that first time. The only thing I can compare it to is Disney Plus. Like that first time logging to Disney Plus and suddenly seeing all these movies and shows in front of you. It was similar to that. I was like, oh my God, I can just click on any show and it's right here for me. It was very, very crazy at the time. After a year, I think this team has tightened up a little bit. Like, it's a little less yuck. There's more focus. It's kind of crazy. It took them this long to figure out their roles. And if you would have told me going into the season that of the three, King was the most consistent, I would have thought you were crazy. But I actually think King is the best of the three, like consistently. JBL kind of has the highs, but also the lows. King is very kind of calls the action. He's excited about it still. He's kind of past like the naughty puppies King at this point. He doesn't really do that much. Still gets some of the stupid, sexist jokes in here and there, but I think he does a good job of just getting stuff over during the season. So a point for the good talking points of the Wyatts giving Shield their own medicine with the numbers game. Lawler does a good callback to SummerSlam 93, like I mentioned earlier with the Del Rio chicanery, that he remembers. And a point for Cole and JBL's good discussion on the chamber strategy during the match.
All right. Cons for commentary. We get King comments on the Usos' hard heads. We get King cracking Hidden Valley ranch jokes and lines like it's 1965. Even though the primetime players in the Divas matches were meh, Cole says Bad News Barrett is fitting after the matches, and JBL cracks up and asks why.
That was rough.
A little bit rough to,
rough. After the match, Cole's like, oh, it's fitting. We got bad news. And JBL's like, baiting him. He's like, why is that, Michael? Like, go ahead and say it. The match sucks. Yeah.
And, getting people on this show is kind of like a preemptive make good for all the people that aren't going to be on Mania. So it's like, to bury them too while on the pay-per-view.
Right.
We get King and Cole talking about NAFTA and wondering if Butcher Del Rio is being cheered so far from Mexico. It's a tough scene.
What are we doing?
It
was weird.
Cole randomly cuts out mid-sentence during the Usos entrance. That was abrupt. weird. And then a commentary talking about Blackjack Lanza during CM Punk chants. It's just like reaching for anything to try to cover up for Punk.
Yeah, like why are we talking Blackjack Lanza of all people? All right, commentary score is a 1. Again, not bad for this crew. Right. Yeah, not bad. Atmosphere, Big E and Swagger work very hard and efficiently. They bring the crowd into the match, which isn't a given with those guys. So a point for that. Jazz hit a home run. So it's everyone but the guys you need, Marcus. I'm sorry. Crowd still loves the outlaw shtick. So a point for that. A point for the Wyatt's entrance. A point for the buzz during Wyatt Shield. The crowd is like all in. A point for Brian is out popping all the stars in the chamber. A point for the crowd during the chamber. The greats. And then a point for the good entrance set shaped like the chamber. I think it was a good bounce back for the Rumble, which we talked about, like kind of a base and basic bitch entrance set. I thought they bounced back nicely with the chamber, and Mania will really bounce back as well.
Our cons, we get the crowd still not vibing fully in on Big E. We get the "We Want Ziggler" chants 1 minute into the opener. We get a library atmosphere for the primetime player entrances. We get the crowd chanting for Brock during the primetime player match. Hogan booed when Bad News Barrett announces him as a WrestleMania host.
Is this right after when did the Bubba stuff come out? Because he doesn't get booed at Mania, so I didn't think it was like a thing yet. I thought it was like 2015.
I thought that was 2015 too.
So I don't know, maybe it was just a random booing, I guess.
I think if Hogan did anything else before then, but I don't think so.
Well, the lawsuit's 2013.
Oh, okay. All right. Well.
It was recorded in 2006.
Yeah.
The video aired in October of 2012. So.
Okay. Well, there we go.
Oh, it's earlier than I thought, brother.
We get Punk chants during the AJ promo. ADR happy. And match, Del Rio, the Happy Party Fun Time song is no more, unfortunately.
I know, they go back to the other one.
Yeah, I love that one. We get the crowd all out on Batista. They're chanting Boo Batista. They're chanting for Bryan, chanting for RVD, Lesnar, Punk.
Everyone.
It feels mean.
It's not. It's like he was the avatar for like the anger about Bryan, and it has nothing to do with him at all. It's just like he was the face of it because he's the guy who has the spot that the fans wanted Bryan to have. It's not his decision, right? Like, but they're just taking everything out on him.
Yeah. And then we get the crowd shitting all over Cena, all for the Elimination Chamber. They chant, thank you, Wyatt, when they attack him. This crowd in 2014 is like so done with Cena. It's kind of, I can equate it to when you and Scott were doing Place to Be and you were covering like 90, 91 and talking about Hogan and how you kind of think like when Hogan comes back, he's cooked. And that's what I thought about like 2013 Cena. It was like after Twice in a Lifetime, he's cooked. But that run in the summer is pretty good. And it's like, okay, where does the fall off happen? And it's here. It's here. Like, this, it was
Royal Survivor. I think it was Survivor Series. It was when he wins the title back, like from Del Rio or whatever. That's to me when it really, and I think it carries until the U.S. title because what he does with Bray isn't great, and then it's like more angst, and I feel like it turns around Mania 31 is when it starts to kind of turn back the other way for him, and he becomes kind of Super Cena for a while and all that. Then he gets the AJ matches and all that stuff, so like kind of turns around a bit. But yeah, we're definitely hitting rock bottom for him in the crowd at this point. They're just done. I mean, in the crowd's defense, is 8 years, like plus 9 years almost of him on top. It's like if you want to say WrestleMania 21, it's kind of when it starts. Like, it's 9 years of like this guy being the guy, and Hogan. Hogan's run is what 84 to 93, 9 years. They were done with him, so like nine's. That's a long, and there's a lot more TV and exposure too. Like 9 is like 18 in the modern era.
And like with Hogan, you had like 2 or 3 breaks in there. Austin's run is really short. Rock's run is really short. Like this is our first time having the super elongated runs at the top and
in a heavily TV exposure time.
Yeah, it falls 3 hours.
Because even Backlund, right, has a long ass run and people turn on him, but his shit's not all televised. I mean, like Cena's just, overexposed left and right.
Yeah.
12 pay-per-views a year, TV every week. So it's like,
and they refuse to do anything interesting with them.
right. That too. JBL's poopy. All right. Our atmosphere score, -2. Atmosphere usually carries shows.
It does.
Notable moments, a point for this being the final official pay-per-view before the streaming era. So this is it. You want, if you love your pay-per-view, now you can still order them later, but this is the last one. We're all in the same boat. A point for the Shield and Wyatt's first only pay-per-view match. We could talk about they fight twice more. Reigns takes the clean loss to Wyatt's, which is pretty funny after his dominance in the Rumble. The Wyatts cost Cena the Chamber match, a point for that, and a point for the Authority and Kane screwing Bryan. And again, you figure, all right, we're going to get Bryan Kane at Mania, like Team Hell No explodes. Again, I know Sheamus Bryan was rumored at one point, so was Sheamus going to maybe join the Authority or something? And it wouldn't be a shock because they kind of go that way. And, a couple of years later with Sheamus and the Authority working together. So who knows where they were going with it, but you could tell that they were trying to soft transition Bryan out of that title picture still at this point. Or, I mean, they might have also had Bryan Triple H planned at this point too, because Punk's gone, right? So that might have been the plan, but without the stipulation, because Punk Triple H was the original plan, right? So with Punk gone, they might have been doing this to set up Bryan Triple H. I don't know. If someone knows the timeline of all this, like share it. I'm just not up on it really, like when everything fell into place.
Yeah. For our cons, we have Cameron beating AJ by DQ, lame. We have the angry crowd destroying Batista in his match yet again, and then Christian's final WWE pay-per-view match until 2021, where he hops into the Royal Rumble.
And that's brief too, right? He's in the Rumble, then he goes to AEW. So for all intents and purposes, this is really it for him in WWE, which is crazy that it's that long ago and he's still going, that he hasn't really been back. But all right, so that's a score of 2 for moments. Let's get over to card structure. A point for the IC title continuing. This season's been one of the pluses. Like, you can criticize the people that have been involved in the matches, but the IC title has gotten a lot of focus this season. Shield the Wyatts in under the wire before the Shield breaks up. So it's cool they snuck that in. A point for Del Rio being a good time waster for Batista. He's got some value, some cred. A point for Cesaro being a perfect addition to the Chamber. It's a spot to elevate him and also adds elite work rate as well. Cool approach to the Chamber, having all 6 make it to the final segment. That's rare, I think, in a Chamber. You usually get an elimination or 2 before we get there. And then a point for closing the Chamber with Bryan and Orton. Because if this is it, it kind of wraps the story nicely for Bryan to go down here to Orton, and the crowd is into it too. Like, I think they've learned from past Chambers, if Bryan would have, been eliminated earlier here, I think the crowd might turn or check out. So at least bringing him to the end keeps the crowd invested the entire time.
Yeah. For our cons, we have the Rhodes brothers on the pre-show yet again. We get Cameron getting tossed out to drown against AJ, and the Usos standing there for their entrance while the New Age Outlaws do their whole rap and spiel. They should have had the Outlaws jump the Usos, especially since they're the heels and with the Authority. It's very weird. I know you have the Outlaws, so the crowd wants to do the whole bit, but
do it after if they're going to win anyway. Just do it after the match. They should have just canceled the Divas match. Like, once Naomi got hurt, they should have said, had AJ cut a promo or something, or fight Cameron. I think throwing her out there to die in that match was a bad choice. Shout out to Naomi, by the way, who pregnant against all odds. Sounds like she was having some fertility issues, so pretty cool for her.
That's awesome.
Big year for Naomi. And her dad shredding the guitar at SummerSlam. All right, net score for card structure, 3. Rare. I mean, a lot of these shows, card structure is the one that sinks them. Like, it's usually, this card is weird. It's like atmosphere is negative and card structure is positive, which isn't always the case for these. Rewatchability, a point for the Big E apron spear. Looks really cool. I've got some bad news all night long. Made that rewatchable. They were really fun. He was good in that. A point for the Chaos offense with the Shield and the Wyatts. A lot of fun. A point for Del Rio cosplaying as SummerSlam 93 Lawler was cool. A point for Bryan, Sheamus, and Cesaro having a fantastic triple threat mini match in the Chamber. And the power bomb from Cesaro to Christian into the pod wall was nasty.
It was awesome. Awesome. Our cons for watchability. We get Cameron and Tamina botch the timing on the missed super kick. And then we get the awkward vibes. Batista and Del Rio with the crowd angry and hate on them for the match.
All right. Score of 4, and we did have
All
2
right.
all-time matches with the Chamber and the Shield Wyatts. And hey, this ends up being one of the better shows of the season, Marcus. 19.25, 59th
Look at
all
that.
time. So good little showing there out of 140. Not bad. Like top half, easy. So I think coming into the season, I would never have guessed that this show would be one of the better of the season. You can see it's company Vengeance 01 and Survivor Series 11. So it feels about right. Kind of shows that don't have a lot of stakes, but have some good matches in them. So, I think it's a good fit. Well, I guess Vengeance has some stakes to it, but so anyway, yeah, it was a surprising watch to me. I was actually quite entertained by the show. I was surprised because most of the season has felt like a bit of a slog, especially since SummerSlam. So to get a little show in here before Mania with a pop was cool. All right, let's get to our top 10. Our number 10 show all time right now is SummerSlam 1992 at 38.25.
Number 9, the SummerSlam 2001 with a 39.
SummerSlam 2015 checks in at 8 at 39.25.
And number 7, WrestleMania 7 with a 39.5.
Number 6, Vengeance 2005 at 41.
Top 5, the SummerSlam 1990 with a 42.
Rumble 2002 checks in at 4 at a 44.
And number 3, my lord, SummerSlam 2005 with a 46.5.
Number 2, WrestleMania 22, 56.5.
And our number 1 show, ECW One Night Stand 2005 with a 79.
All right, so that'll do it for us tonight, Marcus. In 2 weeks, we'll wrap up this season with WrestleMania 30, which low-key, I think, maybe has the chance to at least sniff that top. We'll see. There's a lot of big moments on this show, a lot of cool stuff going on. So we'll talk about it as we get to it. We'll also have our season-ending awards. And a month from today, we'll be into our next season. We'll keep that a surprise until we get there.
Right.
So be sure to check out everything at Notes.connection. We appreciate each and every one of you that have checked us out and everything at the No So. We love you. Thanks to producer Tim in the booth. Brought us all the great content. Be sure to check out the Final Wrestling Place Patreon. It's completely free. And you get lots of cool content there as well. Subscribe from my boys. Hook them up. Help them out. And help us out. Live your life above replacement level. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks' time.